Hello, everybody. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm Watching Gilmore Girls, Season 2, Episode 10, The Bracebridge Dinner.
This looked fun.
Right?
I would like to do something like that.
I love this episode. Season 2 is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Of Butterflies and Books did comment on our Patreon. We put these up early access on Patreon. I don't think I've mentioned that before, but these come up on Fridays on Patreon, so you can watch it a couple days early if you go to Patreon and join the $3 tier, just as like a nice little advertisement. But yeah, Season 2 is really good. I like Season 2 quite a lot. But anyway, Of Butterflies and Books was like, watch out for episode 14, and I don't actually totally remember everything about it, but it is the first episode with Sherry.
Oh, okay.
I know that, but that's all I remember, really.
Okay.
So, but this one is the Bracebridge Dinner. So basically, the inn is super busy. Everybody is working to try to get everything ready because they're having this big corporate thing that's coming, a big corporate group, and they are doing like a old-timey kind of like, it was not, you're right, it wasn't 19th century. That's really weird.
Yeah.
That's a bummer for the writer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
Yeah, as soon as we got hit with a nun, I was like, we are not, and then like the pantaloons or whatever that Rune was putting on.
It was
like,
very
this is
Elizabethan. Yeah, it was really weird.
It Tudor all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, at least Tudor, Regardless. So they're doing this, like, old-timey English, like, a whole, like, a roast beast and stuff dinner, with actors. They're, like,
God, even with the flutes?
Yeah.
We should have had a harpsichord if we're doing it for the... Sorry, I'm being full Paris.
No, totally, but it's really weird. It's really a bummer. So, but yeah, it was like a whole, immersive, like, dinner experience with a menu that matches and everything. But then they have bad weather, and it turns out they can't make it. So they paid up front, which is nice, so they didn't lose any money. So, Lorelai and Suki decide to just invite the town, basically, to come and do this. The episode does open with Lorelai and Rory making a snow woman. There's going to be a contest, apparently, and they are making one that looks like Bjork, but there's a dude who's totally showing off and making, like, an insanely accurate, like, Dickens character.
Yeah.
But that Dickens! We should have done Dickens. Now I'm mad. I've always been like, Paris, please, but I never clocked the 19th century every time I've watched this.
We could have done a whole Sense and Sensibility thing.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been so much more chill than, like, everything that...
Because that's 1800s. That's, like...
Yeah. Uh-huh. This is Victorian. We could have done early or we could have done late. It would have...
That's really, really irritating.
Yeah, it would have been so much easier then. But I feel like anytime anyone does something old-timey, like Old English, then we go right back to Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Or Elizabethan. And I'm like, we can't... There are other time periods.
It's weird. So anyway, they end up inviting the whole town. Everybody has, everybody comes. Rory wants to invite Richard and Emily.
Which is nice.
Which is super nice, because Richard is still having a terrible time. They, like, they have a Friday night dinner in this episode, and he's just, like, not really engaging. Full disclosure, for part of this episode, I was making snacks. So despite having seen it many times, I missed some stuff. Regardless, it ends up being really nice. They're all there. The town's there. Richard and Emily show up. And Richard is, like, on top of the world. And we, like, don't really know why. But he's, like, the life of the party. And Emily is like, I have no idea. But it's fantastic. It's just like a switch flipped. Who knew? The dinner is adorable. Dean is there as well with his
weirdo
sister, Clara, who's obsessed with horses. No shit. And then Luke brought Jess, which I thought was nice. But then something that we will come to find out about Luke is that he is actually a good cook. Like,
you would have to be to open a restaurant.
No, but, like, he's not just a good diner cook.
Oh.
He's, like, he can cook like Suki.
Oh.
And so them complaining about, like, the garnish on the soup, I was like...
yeah, that's weird.
And Jess is from New York!
Get out of here.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a sprig of rosemary, too.
It was, like, herbs and creme fraiche on a butternut squash soup. That's exactly right. Jackson is the Squire Bracebridge. It's a whole thing. Rune is there. You got kind of annoyed at Rune, but
he really
he pulled it out.
He was well behaved for Rune. Yeah. So I was prepared to be very angry.
No, I told you I think this is his last episode, and I was like, he's fine by the end of it. But yeah, I think this looks so dope.
And they got to ride on the horse-drawn sleighs.
So cute. Everything's amazing. Lorelai goes on the sleigh ride with Luke, and they have like a nice time. And then Rory's gonna go alone because Clara made Dean go with her.
I don't like Clara.
Same.
She's weird.
So weird.
Why are you hanging on your brother like that? Disgusting.
I don't care for it.
Well,
as the sleigh is like going, Jess jumps in Rory's sleigh, and they have like an interesting talk. They go past the snowman, and he's like, I can tell which one is yours, and he picks out the right one. It does look like Bjork. And Rory's like, I think that one on the end is going to win, though. And he's like, no, it's like too perfect, and it's boring. And I love that he smashes it overnight. Because it's just smashed the next day. And I'm like, look, see, he's just pranks. He's just
got jokes.
He's just doing 17-year-old boy pranks. Yeah. It's fine.
Sad boy pranks.
Yeah. But then he asks what her and Dean talk about.
Great question. Great question, Jess. I also have the same question.
Because he's like, does Dean know Bjork? And she's like, well, I've played him some stuff. And then he gets into like so you're like a teacher-student kind of thing. And she's like, come on, man. And it's like, no, you kind of are. Like, what do you talk about? There is an episode later in the season that is so good.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh my God. I mean, you're going to be furious at Dean.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and then so that was the thing that Lorelai and Luke talked about is he basically was like you lie to Rory sometimes, right? And she's like, well, I mean, like to save her from pain, I guess, sort of. And he's like, see, that's fine. I lied to Jess, and it's all for his own good, and he has no idea. And she's like, well, what did you do? And it was basically his mother called and said she didn't want him for Christmas. But Luke said that it was his idea that Jess should stay in Stars Hollow. And Lorelai just was like, well, he knows. And he's like, no, there's no way. And she's like, he 100% knows. And we already know he knows because he's gotten into a fight at school that Dean took it upon himself to try to break up. Fucking ridiculous.
And then got all bent out of shape because Jess like kept fighting him.
Yeah.
He's like, you knew it was me. Why did you keep fighting me? And Jess is like, well, you got in my shit, so I'm going to give you shit.
Yeah. So, and then Jess admits to Rory that he knows as well. He's like, well, Luke said it was his idea. And she's like, well, you don't think... He's like, no, it was definitely not Luke's idea that I stay here for Christmas. My mom told him to tell me not to come home. Which just sucks. Yep. Like, it just... Again, once we actually meet Liz, it's like none of this happened. Because by that point, Jess is gone.
I'll remember.
Yeah, it's just...
I'll remember forever.
She just is, like, kind of a good character. She's, like, interesting and funny.
Usually those are the ones that have all of the emotional and mental damage. And abandon their children. It sucks.
Jess turns out great.
Great. I love that for him.
So the only other real big thing is that Paris also comes because she's supposed to be doing... Rory's got, like, edits for the paper or something. And
they want to do a double issue for when they go back to school.
That's right, yeah. And so she comes and then Rory invites her to stay. And she has, like, a great time, but then she talks to Lorelai about all the anachronisms, which are even worse because none of this is also 19th century. And so it's like... she
was picking out like the polyester, and I'm like, okay, we can't go that far, but like, you didn't pick out the right thing.
But it's like the fossil watch and the polyester, sure, are not correct for the 19th century, but they're also not correct for Elizabethan times. So like, which is what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
So, and then we find out the reason why Richard is in such a better mood is that he quit his job.
So I have a question about that because I was a little confused.
Okay.
Because when Lorelai was saying to Emily that job was killing him, I wanted to call shenanigans because it was the whole big thing about he was being pushed out. And so he was having to face his like mortality effectively. And he was being pushed out of a company that he helped build. So I don't understand why all of a sudden we're positing it like this job was so stressful and he was traveling and it was taking him away and he was so miserable from it. And now he's so happy because he quit.
I think all the traveling and stuff was tied into the getting pushed out. I think they were making him do that for like whoever was taking over for him.
Okay.
But it's like a little bit dicey based on that conversation. Like, he's getting pushed out. I think it's just that he didn't feel valued anymore. And so it's like, that in that sense, it was kind of, if you can tell that the end is coming and they're just like riding you hard until they put you out to pasture, then like that super sucks. And he's not been in the last like 4 episodes. Yeah. Because Richard's been traveling the whole time. And so Emily gets predictably mad because he didn't tell her that he was going to quit. And so she goes to stay with Rory and Lorelai, and they're like, well, I don't know how to help, but you can stay in the room. And so that's when Lorelai's like, the job was killing him, and, then she just gets up to go for a walk, and she runs into Richard in the living room downstairs, and he sort of explains the whole thing. Floyd also, he comes back.
Is that the guy that Lorelai dates?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's his dad. It's a whole thing. Somebody did say they like Jason until the end, and I agree. Like, the end of Lorelai and Jason's relationship is really dicey, but I think it's fun. Their like chemistry together. But yeah, so basically he starts talking about how he's like missed out on a little bit of like pension and something else, but like they're gonna be okay. And she's just like, I get it. Let's go to bed. And they're fine. So
yep,
I like it.
Me too. Also, Christopher called and asked if Rory could come stay with him for a couple of days, and then he was leaving it to Lorelai to ask her, which I thought was weird.
Well, Lorelai is her parent.
No, I know, but like, why then couldn't he just call Rory separately and be like, hey, so I talked to your mom and I wanted to ask you if you would like to come. But then Lorelai conveniently forgets to tell Rory about it, and she's like weirdly jealous of Sherry. Yeah. So I'm annoyed.
I mean, we get into some interesting emotional stuff with Lorelai and Sherry and Christopher, the whole thing, and Rory, to be frank.
Yeah.
It's worth exploring.
No, I mean, and I get it. I just feel like I know how it's going to turn out, and I'm not excited. Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, I like this episode so much. There's not like a shitload to talk about just because it's like just nice and cute. Lorelai and Rory take one of the sleighs home, and they see that the fancy snowman has been knocked down, and Rory is very like, I know what happened, but Lorelai does not catch the look on her face. So, and then a Bjork song plays over the end credits.
Oh, and Jess was giving eyeballs to Rory, and Rory was giving eyeballs back, and Dean saw. And when they were like saying bye to each other, and Clara was like, don't kiss, don't kiss. So weird. What?
It's bizarre.
So strange.
Yeah, I'm trying to see when. Yeah, the next. I think we're done for today, but the next handful of episodes are. It keeps going back to season 1. I don't want that. I want to look at season 2. But the next few episodes are. Oh yeah, God. The last episode that we're gonna watch the next time is one of my favorite episodes of the whole series.
Oh wow,
can't wait. But yeah, you like it season 2? Season 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that is it for us. This was probably a super fast episode, but we had snacks, and
we're running down the batteries of our cameras.
We're gonna make more snacks, and the cameras might already be out. I didn't hear them. So yeah, we will like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.